Life in the quiet suburbs seemed idyllic from the outside, a cozy home surrounded by lush greenery, a successful husband, and a teenage daughter preparing for college. To the world, it was a portrait of harmony. Yet beneath the surface, my marriage had become a cold, silent battlefield. My husband, Victor, once attentive and loving, now buried himself in work or his endless phone calls, leaving me to navigate the days feeling invisible and unappreciated. It was during one of those monotonous weekends that I first noticed Caleb. He was my daughter Lily's classmate and study partner, frequently dropping by to prepare for their exams. Caleb was polite, mature beyond his years, and exuded a quiet confidence that caught my attention. He had a charming smile and a warm presence, a stark contrast to Victor's distant and preoccupied demeanor. One summer evening, as Lily and Caleb were working on a group project in the living room, I brought them some snacks. Caleb looked up, his hazel eyes meeting mine. "Thank you, Mrs. Harper," he said with a genuine smile that made my heart skip a beat. "Please call me Eva," I replied, my voice steady but my emotions swirling. It was a small moment, fleeting and innocent, yet it lingered with me long after. Over the following weeks, Caleb's visits became more frequent. Lily would occasionally leave him at the house to run errands or meet friends, and during those moments, Caleb and I would exchange casual conversations. What began as polite small talk gradually deepened into meaningful discussions. He was attentive, curious, and surprisingly insightful for someone so young. His interest in my thoughts and feelings was intoxicating, filling a void I hadn't even realized was there. One afternoon, while Lily was out, Caleb stayed behind to work on a paper. I was in the garden, pruning roses, when he stepped outside. "Need a hand?" he asked, his tone light but genuine. I laughed. "Do you know anything about roses?" He shrugged. "Not really, but I'm a quick learner." We spent the next hour together, talking and laughing as I showed him how to care for the flowers. His presence was magnetic, his laughter infectious. When our hands accidentally brushed while reaching for the same pruning tool, I felt a spark that was impossible to ignore. Caleb's gaze lingered on mine for a moment too long, and I knew this was no longer a simple friendship. That evening, as I sat alone in the dimly lit living room, my thoughts kept drifting back to Caleb. I told myself it was harmless, a passing infatuation born from my loneliness. But deep down, I knew better. The emotional distance between Victor and me had left a void, and Caleb was filling it in ways I couldn't control or resist. A turning point came one rainy afternoon. Lily had gone to visit a friend, leaving Caleb and me alone once again. We were in the kitchen, sharing a cup of tea, when he reached across the table to hand me a napkin. His fingers brushed against mine, and this time, neither of us pulled away. "Eva," he said softly, his voice filled with both hesitation and longing. I don't know what's happening between us, but I can't stop thinking about you." My heart raced as I searched for the right words, torn between desire and guilt. "Caleb, this isn't right," I whispered, though my voice lacked conviction. He leaned closer, his gaze locking onto mine. "But it feels right," he replied, and in that moment, all my defenses crumbled. What followed was a whirlwind of passion and secrecy. Caleb and I would steal fleeting moments whenever we could, our connection growing stronger with each encounter. Yet with each secret rendezvous, the weight of my betrayal grew heavier. I couldn't look at Victor without feeling a pang of guilt, nor could I face Lily without fearing she'd somehow discover the truth. The affair came to a crashing halt one evening when Victor came home early from work. Caleb and I were in the kitchen, our laughter filling the room, when Victor walked in. His eyes narrowed as he took in the scene, his expression shifting from confusion to suspicion. "What's going on here?" he asked, his tone sharp. I froze, my mind racing for an explanation, but Caleb spoke first. "Nothing, Mr. Harper." Eva was just showing me some cooking tips. Victor's gaze shifted between us, his jaw tightening. "Lily's not here, so why are you?" he demanded. The tension in the room was suffocating. After Caleb left, Victor confronted me. "Is there something I need to know, Eva?" he asked, his voice trembling with anger and hurt. I wanted to deny it, to maintain the facade, but the weight of my actions crushed me. I made a mistake," I admitted, tears streaming down my face. "It's over, Victor, I promise." The fallout was devastating. Victor moved into the guest room, and Lily, who eventually found out, barely spoke to me. Caleb stopped coming around, and the once vibrant energy he brought to my life was replaced by a suffocating void. My family was shattered, and I was left to pick up the pieces of a life I had recklessly torn apart. Months later, as I sit alone in the garden, I reflect on the choices that led me here. The roses I once tended with Caleb now bloom as a silent reminder of what I've lost. Betrayal, I've learned, is a fire that consumes everything in its path, leaving nothing but ashes and regret. And while the wounds may heal with time, the scars will forever remain. Thank you for watching this emotional and thought-provoking story. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more gripping tales like this one, don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, subscribe to Story Voyage to never miss another unforgettable journey. See you in the next story.